Radio Mann, Radio Mann, Badian Sarian Ballaugh.
Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
As Claare Gael Shen, Enum and Claare Shaws, Bavaliam Shuish Altacha. My name is Robert Green Carswell, Robert the Carslach, Shen the Grey.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And in this bilingual programme, Claare Gael, you'll hear part of it in the English language, as Nishu Clash Narnelia G Sachilg, and you'll hear another part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Chenian Amera, the mother tongue of Alien Vanning, the Isle of Mann. As Bannacht and Uruish. Before last week's sojourn into Laxey for Paul Quayle's 36 Views of Snaefell exhibition at the Hodgson Loom Gallery at Laxey Glen Mills there, the Laxey Woolen Mills, the Rev Thomas Stephen had brought us to Ballaugh, where we looked at St Mary's, completed in 1832, the year of Thomas Stephen's poem, A Poetical Guide to the Isle of Mann. The tower of Ballaugh New Church, as it was then, was apparently something of a small-scale Boston stump. But then the Reverend Stephen took us out of Ballaugh again, and he referred to us passing Crongold as we went on the northern road. Tashin Liai Giara Gasfeber Nayach, the Dailygraph, as ta nart seo na liantan ristulliog ons leor la Mina Murray, a seo Bram Stoker sa leor ruach ega Dracula. Tan naiach der, ren skriw yn Peber and Giarag seo, a chochion an chidar and Jane Skeel machion a schooner chits jacks a stermons Whitby and Hartola me Lunison, as dunya maru connelt rish a wheel stewry. Well, te skriw tullion a sanmi, as nimage clash and shen. We begin with a song in which all the verses start by mentioning Porchin Hiorna Chida, the little jig of Sean the Silk, as Rinka Philip a Hiol and the dance of Philip of the Music. And Philip appears again at the end of the chorus. The song is Rinka Philip a Hiol. This is Moya Brennan and her siblings in Irish band Clanad. Tashu Geistach Rish Radio Vanning, Stashu the Nashun, Viscol er Skeliena was Stulish, Alien Vanning.
The strinker Philippi yard, Densa dus and rinker sheeny mishan call. O Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinker Philippi yard. Virginia G, the strinker Philippi yard, Shinna Vigra Tisha Sally Vescoja. O Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinker Philippi yard. Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinke Philippi yoy. O Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinke Philippi yoy. Virginia G, this rinke Philippi yoy. Evening and rinken sheep circus and draw. O Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinke Philippi yoy. Virginia G, this rinke Philippi yoy. Jensen does a rinke shenya mishan yard. O Shevanna Jasse, O Shevanna shoy, O Shevanna Jasse, rinke Philippi yoy.
From the Guido Gaeltach in Donegal, the band Clanad, Rinka Philippi Hiol. And so, as we go on northward from Ballaugh, Ballaugh is now behind us, the country wide before you, flat and fine, is worthy admiration, I opine. Lo, as you sweep o'er the north-going road, and mark each farmer's and each gent's abode, at the long mountain's head a quarry view, and on the left a country much like Kew. Well, this must be a reference to the quarry bends, these days very much straightened out, but once a notable S-bend, which was quite a feature of the TT course at the time. The country on the left is much like Kew. Well, I don't know whether this is the Curragh. Kew Gardens were developed, if this is the reference, were developed in 1772 from the merging of what were already two royal estates, Richmond and Kew. So this may be a reference to the farmland a little further on than the Curragh, a rare area in the island, I suppose, at the time, having stands of trees. As the Rev Stephen describes it, the richest region breathing the Manx air is the green-wooded parish of Claare. Coolben rises near the King's Highway, a place of evergreens and orchards gay. A Coolben is on our left, just before we reach the Sulby Glen Hotel. Whitby, and Niall mi Lunison. Na hacher, lograshen quech along Chregits, a sterm briar, she bonus cor yindes vis na smoon and tacherteen. Henke macht de ne ruschacht en schooner as varna, as de enmisich de meter. Ta ballast bonus de bollachegge je geniach fi win, les weg ach thuis beg de lucht, eru de gistigen fooi fi woer, lient les oer. Van Loch Shaw na Chorgus Tornair ons Whitby, manche S.F. Billington, J. Shach and Corran, as Morridew Hyeschen boord, as the Higoil Rene Glacke and Chuj for Courage Day. Ren and Consul Rushach, Nis, as Lea Fartius, Goil Mel, Glacke the Higoil and Lung, as Jik Olju na Teilich and Perta, etc. Genel weg guller Lord Machion and Shaw Jew, liemme Jane Cho Hudjimus quech. Ta ooseren de woer trachti wij min chushach de Ballaugh, ons ginu shigge, de wel sledden bailes wij jint en a rail and ton. A couple of weeks ago we heard an archive recording of the Boscastle breakdown performed by musicians from Boscastle and Tintagel in North Cornwall. Well, we're off now to the Cobweb Inn in Boscastle, where John Bolitho was recorded.
O Gwainten thor erisados, marles were gone ha bray. O gas in gover down in course, of wellies Maggie May. O Maggie May Marvinis, O Claare Rebe, O thoughtless Caris, Nuorden Vith, Caressic Maggie May. Do Lagos glaze Hamel he flew, Dragwins all in the right, Lawen no he ne fragans gew, Panhuelis Maggie May. O Maggie May Marvinis, O Claare Rebe, O thoughtless Caris, Nuorden Vith, Caressic Maggie May. And blethen all Raphias, mes kofni radid hey, lemon gillies yui elas, O Harris Maggie May. O Maggie May Marvinis, O bay of thoughtless carries Nuordain Vith Caressic Maggie May.
Former Barth Muir of Gorseth Curnow, John Ballaugh with the song Maggie May. Erno de bien chush na yindis nai lai, spachtelei de wel fau nach be oors on plaint na san me. Voor moer en simgel mogiet benten den vader henkes a talu tre woel en long. As ten a schleen affair na gaje alten en a chesach son liedel jewelus risbein, vis 4 leidje ons Whitby, choreeb wei kurges achrische weg. Ach, tad ulje mollet. On de valley regeven. Teidjien de valley leier soel de Ballaugh vain valje. Fuddy de raui foal as haier raskes no riesten, bal te fos keeltjen, as aatje megge. Ta kiuste leidjien les jaal lied de gummes, al na haal na sami de jigge heen de jenu soes gauw, son teidjien de valley na vrout elgesach. De morgen, morre dew, va ma de moer, mastiff leeg roggich, belesh march en Gael, fagus de collu cronk date, na geven marus red, chirach je closer weinstje. Next, to the right, Ballaugh appears, and there's a note which says Anglice, the place of riverbanks. J.J. Eanes, 1925, the place names of the Isle of Mann, says Ballaugh, farm of the brink, so that's the brew, the edge of the river. Now called Starwood, he says, and of Starwood, he says, a name given by the Bacon family to a farm in Sulby, being the name of their estate in Northumberland. Well, the Royal Manx Agricultural Show used to have 2 annual shows, with a spring show at the nunnery and a summer one in Claare playing fields in Ramsey. Later it became an annual show alternating between Douglas and Ramsey, and from 1961 it was held at the Bowl in Douglas, and Claare playing fields remained the Ramsey venue until 1973, when it moved to Starwood from 1974 onwards. In fact, from 1990 the Bowl became unavailable with the National Sports Centre, so it was held at Starwood from 1990 to 2010. But 2010 was the last year at Starwood, and it all moved to Knockalow, where it was held, in fact, just a couple of weeks ago. And that's the Glen Craig Scottish Dance Band, led by accordionist Nicol McLaren, and some tunes there which would have been suitable for a Duke of Perth if you'd been so inclined.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn the Nation the Jar Shen Radio Vanning, as an short as you geistjach rish Claare na Gael, Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Now we're talking about the farm on the right here as we go through Sulby, Starwood. And although the farm became known as Starwood, the name Ballaugh appears in the name of some houses that were built in the 1970s. And just past Ballaugh, the houses on the right, is the Kellia. And, notes the Rev Stephen, on the river, a small miln, your ears, a noise with its provoking clack and wheel. If you be thin-skinned, it will make you feel. Well, the mill, as far as I'm aware, no longer clacks, being associated with distilling these days. On the old maps you can see the area that was the mill dam, just to the south side of it, really, I suppose, the south-east. And in recent years people seemed to be surprised when there was flooding of new houses built in the area of the mill. You'd think that they called the development Mill Race. I think that might just have given them a clue, really, but anyway. But this is the Kellia Mill, and the Kellia farm is away on the opposite side of the road. And, says Rev Stephen, on left is Kellia. This is the Kellia farm now. But then he comes straight back. To the right, he says, the Grange, near which is Primrose Hill, whence a wide range of most delightful prospect, new and strange. Ve na chage, a scronnel ve der noid jewelege, no der a scornach ege repit vai, as van wolgege na skulte foslich, maar de bege les krog alder. Na sanmi. Trud kindjelis scruter a boer trachti, verkeerdem de jen liorlinge a demita, verfreilt as diori gus chaustai je 3 len, ach gerau weg je simmerlie angi, limme je nien mechion denie viskalt. Ach dan anes smoe benten den feber, na gedden se gostrail. Va currit rasje wing wees tju. As koente na squay na shen vis guller in shedder en deadjou, gedenkt mi riu en sol je me leen. Na wel oors on keeltje ta kiedem jino imidjou. As me saw, tammy cordu cobje. Gin figel mach weg, ach min chushen chad noil je shalteris as lucht. Te gin bonus de rauwen captain na greme, exorch de venia, rosh me reni roshen fader ustjeren na mara. This is a Breton song about a tailor. Tailors seem to crop up fairly frequently in Breton songs, it seems. Here we hear from Canarion et Bleu, as they sing about Hemenier.
Yemeneer, J, Yemeneer.
Yemeneer, J, Yemeneer.
Yemeneer, psau de vitin, en da jamais sari zaulin.
Yemeneer, psau de vitin, en da jamais sari zaulin.
Et doketon, J, et doketon.
Et doketon, J, et doketon.
Et doketon dans des gazales, damni de wiyed maraglav.
Et doketon dans des gazales, damni de wiyed maraglav.
Yemeneer, J, Yemeneer.
Yemeneer, J, Yemeneer.
Yemeneer, tendro inti, camarades meni hamni.
Yemeneer, tendro inti, camarades meni hamni.
Damni Braman, J, damni Braman.
Damni Braman, J, damni Braman.
Damni Braman de Vernegal, et non usurpation royale.
Damni Braman de Vernegal, et non usurpation royale.
Nagav le doir, J, nagav le doir.
Nagav gafadwar je na gafadwar.
Na gafladwar a yut sille, dwer eiter jemmen neer die brut.
Na gafadwar a jut sille, dwer eiter jemmen neer die brut.
Tjemmen er bud, je tjemmen er bud.
Tjemmen er bud, je tjemmen er bud.
Tjemmen er bud, verita tjed, bulausket a jemmer ir bullet.
Tjemmen er bud, verita tjed, bulausket a jemmer ir bullet.
Tene te hon, je tene te hon.
Tene te hon, je tene te hon.
Tene te hon ir gosju del, amile tongur goppe gel.
Tene te hon ir gosju del, amile tongur goppe gel.
Hör je meneer, hör je meneer.
Hör je meneer, hör je meneer.
Hör je meneer, de chatten dain, meider je meneer appatjain.
Hör je meneer, de chatten dain, meider je meneer appatjain.
Tje meneer erbud, tje meneer erbud.
Tje meneer erbud, tje meneer erbud.
Tje meneer erbud, verita chet, bodin terin dwar bennejet.
Tje meneer erbud, verita chet, bodin terin dwar bennejet.
Interion, interion.
Interion, interion.
Interion ir saulikke, charger harter jeg er i lær.
Interion ir saulikke, charger harter jeg er i lær.
Petit à brandi, petit à brandi.
Petit à brandi, petit à brandi.
Petit à brandi, ager hanton, ganeir libera de hon.
Petit à brandi, ager hanton, ganeir libera de hon.
Herve Julian, herve Julian.
Herve Julian, herve Julian.
Herve Julian, ager lanna, herbene joge strincella.
Herve Julian, ager lanna, herbene joge strincella. Herve Julian, ager lanna, herbene joge strincella.
And that was the Breton singing group Canarion à Bleu, with a song about a tailor. Te Jean de Rennen Mania Shaw liasige de shadowach through den Turris. De Duchesach signed u tickle na tammy de grey cum grano, erno de vel mi skriw vai gu klerach en consul rushach, de kinjil renchin des mahon, as treg yer VM. Ljor linje a Demeter, Varna gus Whitby, skriwt en hachtu lai jeg Jerasauri. Ridden cho quaich tachert, de ginnum frail noot kaart mache shaw der a vishin chit a tolu. An sheo lai Jerasauri, hugshin kion goil boerd loch, geniach fi vin, as kistjichen de oer. Mon lai, gaushin tayach. Gien jaar, vjor. Skimmy, quegdania. De veit lunja, kogere, as miheen, captain. An hidla jeg Jerasauri, egavadran, stjach lien se Vosphorus. Henk meuren custom Turkach boerd. Bakshish. Uljukjaart, voorraad keer PM. An na la jeg Jerasauri, Trude Dardanellen. J.J. Neen deals briefly with not the Grange as a name, but Grangey, and refers us to his explanation about Ballaugh and Kirkmaloo. Ballaugh Grangey, farm of the granary, he says, which comes from the English grange, and is applied to a storehouse for grain, usually a monastic granary. So the Grange, or the Grangey, here in Lizard, is a reminder of the extensive monastic lands that were once held here in the parish. J.J. also deals not with Primrose Hill, but with Cronk Sumark, which he explains is from a Scandinavian name meaning short ridge, with Gaelic knock or cronk added. And he says, popular etymology is responsible for its present form, Cronk Sumark, meaning Primrose Hill. So he's saying people have got it all wrong. It's not Primrose Hill at all. It's a short ridge, and it's prefixed by Cronk in this case, or it could have been Knock, which is because they both derive from the Irish Cronk. And so we have two words for the same thing, both derived from the same source. And Cronk Sumark is become, which appears to be Primrose Hill, but really is this short ridge. On its summit was a hill fort, and archaeological investigations show that the ramparts were strengthened by having been subjected to heat to vitrify the material. But anyway, the Reverend Stephen invites us now to pursue your road and see the snug Belle View, than which more pretty spots there are but few. Now here's a lullaby, so I hope you don't fall asleep, or you'll miss a fine performance by Ruth Keggin and Rachel Hare. Ruth Keggin and Rachel Hare with their version of Annie Kissack's song Fuddy Veg. Next, Ballaugh with its sheltery wood, and Ellen Bairn producing grain for food. Of pure complacence and the hour beguile. Lo, steep Glendour rises, wide and fair, mid rich plantations, a forest rare, extending to Glen Tramon on the side of the same hill, and in the distance wide, Lochan the Yai, the improving farmer's pride. Next you approach the parish kirk, beneath the fringed hill, all verdant like a wreath. Well, the church of Lisare was the setting for A Manx Wedding, with words and musical arrangement by W.H. Gill in Manx National Songs, published in 1896. Well, W.H. Gill himself lived and worked in the home counties. His arrangement of A Manx Wedding celebrates with, well, a peal of bells, basically, is the piano arrangement. Lisare Church itself, though, has only 2 bells, so you'd never manage that actually at Lisare Church. Lisare Church is now a cultural centre where concerts are held thanks to the initiative of Julian Edwards across the road at Ballaugh. See on the left, says the Reverend Stephen, Keelingan's Waving Grove. Tulliu Mern custom as bed a bradach a squadron cordi. Backsheesh rish. Over na oser en jint mach as mach, ach, de tavi. Girish in sul de lier. Egg en chan gorge heishin stiach zijn archipelago. Yn tras le jeg Jerasauri, heishin sha kion chira matapan. Skimmy, mi wooiach mechion riddenach. Jin de vei foal, ach a jinnach het greiveg. Yn chearwla jeg Jerasauri. Fam mi beggan burrit mychion skimmy. Tadoliwn yn deinia cwn, ren siol y mer ym rai. Chydod meid fedd yn macht na Virginawaru. Chydinsio de ych draw rydden ach on, as hugad crosha gorw hin. Chael meid a chiava rish ferja was woolea. Fam mi jerkl rish troja fergach. Ach, ol you fech. Yn sheol e jeg Jerasauri, hug meid tourastel, draw fer a skimmy Petrovski, a serach. Chadodi cor ors on sio. Freil ar a chawchier hoch clig raier. Brenhinna Sadelin, Queen of the Welsh harp, Nancy Richards, playing what's called on an old sheet of music, Erdigan Caerwine, Minstrelsy of Chirk Castle. Chirk Castle, Castellwine, is near Wrexham.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Siod yw stasiwn yn asiwn radio fannin. She Claare na Gael tan Claare show as Mish the Chebble. Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Haven't heard tell of old Bobby Bob.
Hi Abramoff ons in a J. A chajach e gysliabi. Denia na smŵ liagchriach na vadriw. Uliw greu draw a jerkl rish reddenach Jane lied. A chynjarachad ach draw riddenach boord. Mei chit de vei fin jou gronsach rw. Im neem de vel burre rechiet. An schachtol e jeg Jerasauri. J henk vergin skimmy, algaren gus mechaben, as ons acht len de hatchim, tinche dau, draw I smunien draw dunje kwech boord an long. Doorte gouds vei freilare, draw I goil fast I tjau chulu jen tai laut, no draw sterm fliagion. De honneke, dunje shang, na rau gurish ferre rwi jen skimmy, henk nis an liagrish as heierish a laut gus an toiach, as heier as shilje. Daar de harredach, ach tre renke a buch, ga door peger bi, as van a hatchen olju dunt. Ve as a heel lesh aal fes creduach. And on the right its rows of larch above, turn sky hills steep, and bless your curious view with Milntown's towers unique, strong built, and new. Well, the Christian family had been living at Milntown from at least the early 16th century, and parts of the house date from that period. During the 17th century, extensive alterations and additions were made to Milntown, but after that, though, the Christians moved to Cumberland, where they also held extensive estates, and the house at Milntown during that period was let out to tenants. And then, in 1830, John Christian returned to Milntown, and he had the house redesigned. That redesign and building work from 1830 is here noted in the Rev Stephen's poem from 1832, where he refers to Milntown's towers unique, strong built and new, because of course they were. But John Christian's redesign was deliberately redolent of an earlier age. And in fact, when past, says the Reverend Stephen, look back. The front, a castle spews, antique and white, to imitate the snows. Well, here's Bernard Kane to introduce a song he's about to sing, and he's accompanied by Charles Gard at the piano.
As nish, ren mcian caga santwat.
Macmaras, daim nin noichin sa jages, atarabu, the shingelic crechen face. O Yorachan, a graida chan graideras bre, leg donish golden clay on slow, as cadon in guna share. Cadon in guna share. O Vrerachan, leshcape hagiel, aslai hagiel, quiet jota chet hunnish, ben inside and gelsinner. O yendos tanam ran ein nisha, do dan alek ninja, leg donish gjarnin noijin shis, hajin einske pilnin law, hajin einske pilnin law. Sonata, Macautat skebits known as null, Macmaras, and Cagate a hole. O Huntwat, tan glorets tan up tan the bray, ma feinis tan the lusnin ren, they scrooge on sedim rain, they scrooge on sedim rain.
From Manx National Songs, The Battle of Santwat. The original English words were by A.P. Graves, and they were to a tune composed specially by W.H. Gill for it. I don't know who did the particular set of words that Bernard was singing. I suspect possibly J.J. Neen. Manx National Songs tells us, tradition says that the women of the north, having come to the aid of the men, turned the issue of the battle in their favour, and that in consequence they became by law entitled to a larger widow right than those of the south. Well, now moving on from Milntown. Down to the left afar, the country o'er, cast your exploring eye. And in fact we'll be passing on the left the area of the Lisaire playing fields where the Royal Manx Agricultural Show used to be held in Ramsey every other year, well, for a good number of years, as we heard, before it moved out to Starwood in Sulby. Then look before, urges Thomas Stephen, observe the town of Ramsey and its bay, and view its fine environs the next day. Well, because we spent the day on the road coming out west from Douglas to Ballaugh and St John's, then northward from there, so it's telling us to get our heads down now and save our sightseeing round the Ramsey area until tomorrow. And so we move to the fourth day. That you'll forget yourself asleep, don't fear. St Paul's loud iron tongue will strike your ear, and bid you for your early walk prepare, and scents regale in the sweet morning air. St Paul's in Ramsey had been built in 1822, but not as we see it today. Strailiam fuddy the gin an al scalia mach. The chosha Jew nim ronsacha cledden long the kerelach, find steak hoshi gesun lie jerry. Na san mi solai, ren mi chimpsacha kujach a cledden skimmy, a stinch mi dow, no de bewachtolei de rawitsmunion de rau pegenjach long, de ginnach shin ronsacha by steak hoshi gesun lie jerry. Weet corrie, doort de nee ommetjes bij. As ljorish ligge en red de eien gobol weinig, de jinnach coras cree na denia. Doort de jinnach goilarn ons vrelet wij burre les spy lau. Lig me de goilen sture. Gouds ren de firelia goil toiach de ronsach mages mag, ulju vreel hoes regelia, les londeren. Gedegsjen ulju bi njau ronsich. An rauwacht na kistjechen fooi moer aan, gerauw uljen maar naanji, adach dunje keeltjen. The festival at the Cirque de Lorient was held earlier this month, including performers from Galicia. This is Galician band Berragueto with vocalist Javier Diaz, performing Fusco.
No sé por qué, no sé cómo, no sé dónde, no sé cuándo, pero entre Fusco y Lusco estaré aquí aguardando. Dime por qué, dime cómo, dime dónde, dime cuándo. Sabes que entre Fusco y Lusco seguiré aquí esperando.
Canta
a band from Galicia called Berragueto, and they were performing a song called Fusco. Relief moer ag na Dania tre ronsach jint as herish, as hired bach as an overock de ginnel. Ren veit grauge, ach, het doort weg. Well, as the Rev Thomas Stephen has referred to St Paul's Church in Ramsey, we'll begin next time with an overview of that. What the Rev Stephen saw in 1832 wasn't what we see of the church today, but we'll find out more about that next time. As Maso Shach and Trey as the Feimine Corcion Ern Claire. We close with music performed by Jay Donnan. It's their version of Paul McCartney's Hey Jude. Chris Pearson will be along with 2 hours of the best chill-out music for your Sunday evening between 7 and 9, and then Judith Lay will be here at 9 with Sundown. But now, until the next time, this is Robert Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a Crieru, as Ortsel ye, as me Yerian shed you will you.